Hello, in this video I'm going to be going over the last two doublings that we haven't covered so far, and that's the high G and the high A doubling. The doubling will first be explained on page 39 and page 40. The reason I've separated these high doublings is because they don't really use a grace note to start off with. It's more of a strike, really. When you're on G, this is the G note, you would come down and strike with your G finger. So for example, as they have on page 39, it says make a high G grace note on F and then raise the finger again. So on F, you would use the grace note, but then you would come back up on G. When you turn to page 40, you can see more of what they're doing. If you're on F, you just would make that G, come back down to the F, and then a G again. So for this doubling, you would use a G grace note, but then you would go back up, and it's almost just like almost like a strike, but it is a G grace note. If you're on E, you would go to your G and go back down on an F, and then come back up to a G. If you're on low A, and then your B. So that first initial is just you're going up to a G. Then you would basically use the F strike or the G strike and come back up, making your second G. So they do call it a grace note, but it's more like you're performing a strike. Okay, and you can find the scales of this again on page 111 of the Green Highland Bagpipe Tutor book that we've all purchased. This is the book, Green Highland Bagpipe Tutor book. It's by the National Piping Center, and we can see that scale, and that's just what I played. Okay, so if you're on A, and that's what they have written on page 111. Next will be the double high A. And this is going to be using your thumb, but it's more of a sweeping motion. It's basically a strike as well, but we can just sweep it across that back hole. And it will sound like this. So that's from low A. From low A, you're making a high A, and then you're sweeping down across that back hole. And you can play the whole scale. And that's your high A doubling. So you can see that those high doublings, the G and the A, they're a little bit different. They call it a grace note, but I think it acts more like a strike. And so that's why I separated them on here. We can go over all these exercises when we have lessons every Wednesday. But for now, this is just reference material so you can see how they're played.